Well, certainly the phrase that's been used is a plain pine box. And of course, there are various ways to adorn that with different types of wood. But in essence, a kosher Jewish casket is all wood, probably dowel construction. And typically, there are holes at the bottom so that the loved one who's passed away eventually becomes part of the natural earth.
And again, it's the value that it gets lived out. How do you keep it as simple as possible? And as you said, Rabbi Berger, it's about returning to the earth, which in our day and age is also strange with vaults and how all of the graves are constructed, but it's trying to bring those values forward even as we live in our modern world.
And I could add that one of the traditional Jewish values having to do with burial is that in the end, all people are equal. Obviously, in many people's lives, there are people who may have more money or less money, but in death before God, we're all equal, and having an honest, plain, yet beautiful casket is a symbol that in the end we're all people.
I think alongside of talking about the casket, I don't know if you've seen where people that have done burials where people are in vaults. There are a number of our cemeteries now where people will be in elevated buildings. And
Very seldom in my career, but of course, if you go to modern or older Jewish cemeteries, you'll find a lot of that.
and it is different than lowering a casket into the grave. But whether we're talking about cremation, whether we're talking about have somebody being buried in an above ground vault, or even into being lowered into a grave in the earth, a lot of the rituals end up staying the same. It's then just figuring out the physical dynamics. And then if the casket is going into above ground vault, you can't do the same rituals of shoveling earth, for example.
Absolutely.
So that would be one of those things is as you're thinking about where your burial places are, how do you think about the different rituals of Judaism, whether it's adding the earth for Israel, whether it's shoveling into the grave, those types of incredible, powerful Jewish rituals, thinking about which ones speak to you, and then finding those ways, working with a rabbi, working with a funeral home, and working with a cemetery to make them to be able to follow through with those rituals.